blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed.
JC Loves and the Morning Crew, charging your morning. Now, go take on the day.
Vengeance is his, but I'ma do it first. I'm gonna handle my business.
What's up, and yo, what's up? This is your boy, Deacon Django, and we are here again with another episode of The Devil Advocate. And I want you guys to say hello and thank you again for joining us. We are live today.
Pleasure in a man's pain, but my wrath will come down like the cold rain, and there won't be no shelter, no place you can go.
How you doing?
It's time to put your hands up, time for surrender. I'm a vigilante, my loss to pay.
We're gonna have to probably take us a break here so we can get our sound effects. We're going to go ahead and take us a quick break so we can go ahead and get our sound effects situated, because it seems we're having some technical issues this morning. So you guys just bear with us. We'll be back momentarily with the show. Give us about 2-3 minutes. Let's go and get this stuff sorted out right here. Devil's Advocate.
When I find that fool, put it down to you. Who did that to you?
Okay, we are back. Okay, now I can hear us. Hey, Nat Cat, how you doing? How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How y'all doing?
I'm doing great. We were having us a little bit of a technical difficulty.
I know. I was just jamming along. I was like, hey.
I know. How you doing today?
Well, I'm being this super melanated real estate lady out here in these streets today. Just went in my little rain boots and all that good fun stuff.
Okay. Well, we had to go ahead and kind of stop for a second because we were having a little technical difficulty. I was like you. I couldn't hear anything. So today we are talking about we can't have anything. It's a damn shame we can't have anything. And today's topic is we can't have nothing. You know we can't have nothing.
They don't like to share. They always want to take everything and chip at it and chip away.
Yeah,
don't devalue what we do.
Yeah, we can't have anything. And basically, this is about what we talked about. We had the, for those of you guys that know, the Black Panther movie launched last week, Friday, right after the show. Well, Thursday, technically. And it was a great movie. It was great.
Amazing movie. Best ever.
You went to go see it?
Twice.
Did you? You went to go see it?
Twice. I had to see my husband.
You went to see it twice?
I wouldn't check it. My name is Erica Killmonger, y'all. Hi. I just wanted
you want to be Eric Killmonger? Myself. Okay, I got you.
Erica. I'm Erica. I'm a girl. Well, don't get it twisted, because when he said, when I say something, I mean it, I was like, yes, Daddy, yes, you missed that. But anyway, neither here nor there. My name's Erica Killmonger. How you doing?
I'm okay, Miss Erica Killmonger. How you doing? So the movie has shattered records all across the globe. It is a great movie. Before I go into that, let me go ahead and shout to our technician who's been trying to fix everything. Our elder statesman, Mr. Super Dave. How you doing there, Chief?
Oh, I'm doing fine. How about yourself?
I'm great. I'm gonna take it, my angry black man. You did go check the movie out.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Now tell me, what was your take on it?
Well, there are two takes from me. I'm a comic book aficionado, so
Right.
I looked at it from that perspective, and then I looked at it from I guess you could say from the perspective of which most people are looking at, and I have mixed emotions. I like the fact that they stayed true to the comic book for the
Right.
most part. There were some technical glitches as far as I'm concerned about him finally giving his the vibranium to the world, which in the comic book he never did,
Right,
and
never
never
did
would.
that, right.
But they kind of screwed with Iron Man a little bit too, because no one ever knew Tony Stark was Iron Man, but or no one knew that Bruce Wayne was Batman. So they seem to be doing that for whatever reasons.
For movie continuity, it's the Infinity Wars is next. So,
We're going to have, let's see, on Wednesday, we're going to have Dr. Ray Winbush on, who is from Wilberforce College. He also taught at Fisk University over the Africana Studies Department. And thus far, I've seen he has the best analysis of the movie. He's seen it, I think, 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
But just me personally, as I've read more about the what went into the movie, all of the black people that made money, from caterers to gaffers to stagehands. Of course, this was filmed at Tyler Perry Studios in Atlanta. All of the black extras and all of those things. And then, of course, the subliminal messages that were sent in the movie were very stark, yet very important if you pay attention. Like if you ever when you see Okoye, Nakia, and Black Panther in the same shot, there's something that you don't pay attention to, but you should.
Yeah,
and
called Easter egg.
Well, it's the Pan-Africanism, which,
Right.
if you notice, Okoye is always in red.
Right.
The Black Panther is in black, and Nakia is always in green.
Right.
That's by design.
Right.
Okay. When Okoye talked about the weave when
Right.
she was fighting, that's by design.
Right.
It just goes. The language was the Hosa language that you heard that was being spoken. The tribes that you saw, the 5 tribes that they referenced were actually African tribes.
Right.
The dress that they had on and the
Right.
symbolism was actually African symbolism. So it ran the gamut of making sure that our history, our culture was front and center. So for those who are out there criticizing this movie, which you're more than welcome to do so, I don't understand why, to be totally honest. I don't expect everyone to like it, but you complain that you were tired of seeing slave movies and thug movies and prostitute movies and gangster movies and dirty cop movies that all portrayed black people in a negative light.
Right.
And here you have a movie that is 95% black, that holds to the message of black independence. Just imagine what we would be like if we had the attitude of Wakandans,
Right.
where we took care of our own. It had every message that we should be relaying to our people, yet we have black people coming out and attacking this movie,
Right.
which is beyond.
That's the part that hurt me. Go ahead, Nat Cat.
That's the crazy part. That's what killed me too. I was like, how are you upset with all this black excellence on multiple levels and on levels that you can't even see and comprehend? If you've never been in a production or seen a production, do you know what all it did for the city of Atlanta and what Atlanta means to us and how many black people are there? This is a big, 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 big thing. And then to have an all-black cast. It's a great movie. It's making you think critically, and I'm
Right.
glad that people are voicing their opinions and saying, well, I wish it had this and da-da-da. I'm glad that it's getting people to think, but don't, knock it, because the whole point of the movie was to get you outside your comfort zone and to think and see how wonderful and great we can be and what we can become.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
everybody
Right.
knocking the movie, you know what? You need to go read some more books to understand your history a little bit better, and you might like the movie a lot better on what it's doing and showing our children, our girls, our young men, how it's empowering young girls to sit here and say, I can do this and I can do just as much as him, and he's okay with me being this good and this strong and this powerful, and it doesn't bother him. It doesn't demasculate him. It doesn't make him feel like a mama's boy or anything else. To have these powerful, powerful women and to have a new black Disney princess, y'all. Everybody's missing it. I'm like, y'all, we got another black princess. That don't happen often. And everybody's just missing a lot of the mute points to sit here and look at the negative, and it's not even really negative. They're just focused their narrative on the wrong thing. But anyway, that's my whole.
Well, my thing is, I think with the problem with our people especially is some black folks, we have an axe to grind and stuff that's really no axe to grind. Why grind an axe when you have no dog in the hunt? And truthfully, we have a dog in the hunt. You know,
because Master didn't get paid off of it. That's why.
Well,
but anyway.
Well, put it like this: the biggest criticism I saw, and this was right after the movie launch, is that there was no LGBT.
So,
that's what I said.
Exactly.
That's what I said.
Africa.
That's what
okay.
That's what I said because here's the problem: if I'm like you, Dave.
And by the way, in the comic book, there is a lesbian relationship with the Dora Milaje. There is but they cut that out. So again, if you don't know the book,
right, in the book,
the story, there is a lesbian relationship. Ooh, but the fact that it wasn't in this movie, I mean that's irrelevant to the point. And this is where I take issue. Well, this is where I take issue with that organization is the fact that you want to try to force everything about your organization on people. You know, there's a time and a place, and this movie was not that time and place. You can call me, homophobic or whatever you want, which would be incorrect.
No,
but the point is that this movie was not the time and the place for having a homosexual or lesbian relationship in it.
Well, here's my problem with that. Okay, I'm like you, Dave. I'm a comic book aficionado. I collected Black Panther. I collected the Avengers, which Black Panther eventually became a member of the Avengers. So, excuse me. So I have an issue. Here's the point. We've had Iron Man. We've had Thor. You've had Captain America. You've had the Avengers. Okay? You even have the DC universe. I didn't see... Oh,
we lost her. Yeah.
What's your call back? We had... all these movies out, the Marvel Universe has been going 10 years strong now in the movies. Nobody has sat around here and said anything about those movies not including, the gay element or the same-sex element in those movies. In fact, they kind of
I'm trying to remember, has any of those movies had?
No.
So, see, that's my point is because it seems to me that the LGBT community, they want the black community to take up
the banner.
Their banner for them.
Right.
And they want to use what we've accomplished to further their agenda, but they don't really give a damn about the black agenda. I'm just going to be real with you. So I have just like the immigrant community. They want who when you look around Congress right now, who is carrying the banner for DACA? The Congressional Black Caucus. Mainly. Look around our city alone. Who is carrying the banner for immigrants? But you know what? They don't respond in kind to our issues. And we have to start thinking, hey, wait a minute. Why are we carrying the water for everybody else when they don't reciprocate in the things that we need them to do for us? Case in point. These kids being killed. All of a sudden we got this fervor to do something about guns. We had Oprah Winfrey to donate $500,000. We had other celebrities donate more money.
Right.
It's been over $3-4 million donated to this cause.
Right.
All right. Black kids have been killed every day. Where were you with Black Lives Matter? Okay. Does it all of a sudden become important now? It just amazes me that black people don't understand when it comes to us. Yeah, we can disagree about this movie. And here's the other thing that bothered me. Right. Why are you worshiping a superhero? Dude, it's just a damn movie.
Right.
It's just a movie. Why are y'all doing all this overanalyzation? Now, you can go back and analyze the subliminal messages in it because they were great.
Right.
I thought the message, there's an allegory between the African and the African American. Now, let me ask you, who was the African?
The African
was Black Panther.
Was Black Panther.
Okay.
Right.
Who was the African American?
Was Eric Killmonger.
Eric Killmonger.
Right.
You had the African American who was educated by American values, CIA.
Right.
And then you had T'Challa who was educated on black values.
Right.
You know, African values. So you had that. You had the dynamic of black women having black men's back.
Right.
You know, and Natalie brought up that fact.
And empowered black women.
Exactly.
That's why I get so upset when I see sisters on Facebook bashing the movie. I said, how could you bash that movie when you see strong, powerful
If it wasn't for
sisters?
Shuri, the Black Panther doesn't have, you know, the technologists. It's Shuri, who is a black woman who, by the way,
is more brilliant than Tony Stark.
Exactly.
Right.
Because where did Tony Stark get his vibranium from?
Right.
Wakanda. Duh. Now I know we kind of geeking out on people right now.
Right, 'cause they're like,
but the point being is if you just want to talk about the story, not all the subliminal messaging that went on. When you want to talk about the story, when you go back and look at, and then here's the other thing I heard someone say. Well, this story was written by a Jew and a white man.
Oh, Lord.
How can he write? Well, if you understand, if you look at the story, this was the only superhero at that time. He's the smartest superhero of everybody.
And the richest on top of
And
it.
the richest.
And the wealthy. Well, wealthiest. Let's get rich.
You see what I'm saying?
The wealthiest.
So even though a white guy wrote the book, a white guy wrote To Kill a Mockingbird. It's a great book.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So even though a white guy and a Jew wrote the story, if you look at what they did for T'Challa and Wakanda, is that they made it the pillar of society.
Right.
They made it the pillar of the world, as a matter of fact.
Right.
So I just don't understand that.
And the message behind it was, what would have been the state of African civilization
had it not been invaded?
If it had not been colonized.
Exactly.
If it had not had European
That's why in the movie, what are they calling white people?
Colonizers.
Exactly.
Right.
So that subliminal message. See, it's amazing because some of the people that were criticizing was on Facebook are my friends who call themselves woke.
Oh, Lord.
Okay? And if you are really woke,
folks,
how did you not miss all of those nuggets of African history and culture? How did you look in the beginning of the movie? Eric Killmonger was telling you African history about the Igbo.
Right.
They were telling you.
Right.
Okay? He was telling you about the mask. They were telling you if you look at that mask.
I want that mask. I want to get that mask.
Well, people don't realize that was a fertility mask.
Right.
You see, they were telling you the African history. How is it you sitting there and you don't get all of that? How is it that you don't see that red, black, and green? Okay? How is it that you don't understand that the guy who had the lip adornment was from a actual African tribe?
Right.
How did you not understand that the language that they were speaking was Hosa language? How did you not understand that when he broke the spear and the shape of his spear was actually from Shaka Zulu?
Yep.
Whoa. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
How did you miss that, all you woke brothers and sisters?
Because their eyes are wide shut. That's why.
I'm just asking the question. And again, you can look at it from two angles. Certainly from and when we get Dr. Wimbush on, there were some subliminal things that he brought up that I agree that were kind of negative. But at the end of the day, the positives in that movie. And then here's the other thing. When you saw how people responded to that movie.
Right.
When you saw the videos of the little kids, the little girls dressed up like the Dora Milaje.
Right.
Milaje. Here's the other thing. Let's stop calling them Dora Milaje Amazons.
Right.
You know why? Do you know who? Oh, not the Dora Milaje, but let's stop calling the Dahomey warriors Amazons. Do you know who the Dahomey warriors are? Yeah. Who the Dora Milaje was based on?
What?
The Dora Milaje is based on the Dahomey warriors. They were an all-female warrior
cast.
And as a matter of fact, when Alexander the Great realized that these were, and by the way, Queen Candace, who led the Dahamis, who had lost an eye in battle, when Alexander the Great realized that he was about to fight the Dahomey warriors, he turned his army around. Okay. By the way, you can get that in the Destruction of the Black Civilization by Chancellor Williams, if you want to check my facts. All right. So, but here's the point: people are calling these women the Dahomey Amazons. No. Where's the Amazon? Let's do some quick geography.
The Amazon's
here.
in Brazil.
The Amazon is in South America, right?
Right.
So the Dahomey warriors were in Africa. They cannot be Amazons. I'm just saying.
Well, Amazon is taken out on a word of its own for a type of woman.
Yeah,
so
I understand. But they were the Dahomey warriors and were a fantastic battle tribe. And go look up Queen Candace, people. Okay, but again, that's another example of how that movie looked at history. And although it wasn't even the movie, because the Dora Milaje is part of the original story.
Right.
So when you look at what Avi Arab did and the other guy who wrote the original story, they apparently knew something about the Dahomey warriors and used them as a model to make the Dora Milaje. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
So when you criticize those white guys who wrote the story, you sound pretty damn ignorant right now.
They did their research. So,
exactly. You see what I'm saying?
Right. So, I mean, and it was so interesting because what people don't understand is that so many people, it's a black movie, but white people overwhelmingly, especially comic book geeks, wanted to see this movie. Let me tell you something. Let's give you a little quick history about the Marvel Universe and Black Panther. Wesley Snipes originally pitched Black Panther to Marvel back then before it got bought out by Disney. He went to the powers that be, Stan Lee and them, and tried to pitch Black Panther after he did Blade. Now, if anybody remembers anything, Blade, remember that movie with Blade, the black vampires kicking all this butt? Blade was a cult hit. Most people didn't even know what Blade was about. And the reason why a lot of people...
And by the way, came years after the Black Panther.
Thank you. Came numerous years after the Black Panther. So what people didn't understand was everybody, Blade. Let's just be real. White people love the kicking butt, take no names type of black man. They like that. They like the black man with the attitude.
But really, it's even more than that. It was part of the Marvel universe. And look, again, I don't mean to geek out on people about this.
Right.
But when you are part of that, there was a battle going on.
Right.
It was DC and Marvel. Okay.
Right.
And really the only thing that kept DC afloat at that time was Superman and Batman. Okay.
Right.
All of their other heroes, let's be realistic, sucked. They were terrible.
Right.
Maybe Aquaman,
and maybe Wonder Woman.
And Wonder Woman.
Justice League. That was
but Justice League was part of when they combined.
Right, when they combined.
But I'm saying, individual heroes, Marvel had them beat. They had Iron Man, Spider-Man, the Hulk. It just goes on. It just goes on. And Silver Surfer, the Fantastic Four.
Right.
I mean, it just goes on. And each one of those characters had their own Galactus. I mean, I consider the names just keep Vision. The names just keep popping in my head.
Right.
Okay, so there was a war going on, and what people don't realize is that most of the people who were supporting comic books were white guys, white kids, okay? So they fell in love with those characters regardless of, because here's the thing, when you're in a comic book universe, you got a guy like the Silver Surfer who came from planets beyond.
Right.
You got the Hulk that turns green. So it's not a stretch that you have a Black Panther from Wakanda who is black. So those guys can easily fall in love with that character.
The diversity of the comic.
You see what I'm saying? Because the comic is about a diverse universe.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So they already Luke Cage Power Man is another one. The Daredevil. Man, I could go Thor.
Right.
I mean, look, I can even tell you about during the time when the Avengers had the war with the Zodiacs. That you see, so I can geek out on you with these comic books. Okay,
well, let's get for the lay people.
But the point that I'm trying to get people to understand is that part of this $400 million that was earned this past week, part of that was white people.
A lot of white
and
people.
a lot of white people loved that movie
and loved it. That look, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. When they first did the first Easter egg, and that's the little hidden signal, the first Easter egg for Black Panther, surprisingly, was not in the Avengers. You know what it was in? It was in Wolverine Origins.
Yeah.
That was when Wolverine went to Africa and they were trying to get that vibranium. I don't know if you remember that. That's when he was in there and he was with that group of mercenaries.
Right.
And the gentleman that was with him said, "We want to know what this is." Remember that? They had that African tribe at gunpoint.
Yeah.
They said, "We want to know what this is because we're looking for it." That was 10 years before they did Black Panther. So let me go back to Wesley Snipes right quick. Wesley Snipes pitched Black Panther to Marvel. Okay, before it was even Marvel Studios, when they were still in the comic book phase. That was before Marvel even made the first movie they came out officially, Marvel didn't own the rights to it, was X-Men back in 99.
Right, they had sold everything away. Fox owns
Fox owned
right now.
everything.
Fox basically owns the Spider-Man franchise,
which
is about to come back.
Right, come back.
Okay,
right.
So
basically, what they did was they put these little Easter eggs. If you were in the comic books like I was, you knew what it was. So what Wesley Snipes did, he said, "Let me pitch Black Panther." At the time, he could not get Blade made. Marvel didn't think he was going to do good. But because he was such a good action hero and he was in his prime at the time, Blade became a cult classic. Then after Blade became a cult classic, then Marvel was like, "Whoa, wait a minute. Let's look at this here." Because if you look at the original Blade, it wasn't produced by Marvel. It was produced by Wesley Snipes' own production company called Amon-Ra. Then when they said, but he had to go ahead and give it credit because naturally it was, using the image of their character. He said based on a Marvel superhero. In Blade, you'll see it at the end, based on Marvel. So what happened was when they looked at it, they said, "Oh, Blade can do good commercially." So now they're looking at dollars and cents, right? I wonder why Black Panther, but he could not get the grant. And then, of course, you know what happened to Wesley Snipes. He did 2 more Blades. Then he fell into legal trouble with the IRS.
And then, of course, part of it was that selling off the Marvel universe.
The Marvel universe, right.
That caused them some problems.
So by the time he really got it in, and when they had pitched Black Panther making a movie about 4 or 5 years ago, actually doing the movie, Wesley Snipes was now out of his prime. He's older, you know what I'm saying? He would have made a great hero as long as he had kept the mask on because you could clearly see his age at this point. But he had sat around here, and now they're looking and say, "Well, Wes, you're right. We should have listened to you back in 1998. But now that you passed your prime, we need a younger actor." So they cast Chadwick Boseman, who had been, of course, started off in Civil War as the Black Panther. And what it is now, like I said, you're talking about a movie that's doing $500 million probably today to count globally in it. It is a blockbuster. And here's the most astonishing thing for what people do not understand about Black Panther. Not only did it show that black people are viable culturally, it showed black people are viable commercially. Black people now don't have to take movies with small budgets and indie programs. We can make blockbusters. Not only can we make blockbusters, we can make blockbusters that are globally loved. And that to me was one of the biggest takes from Black Panther, is that now we show that we can play with the big dogs on the movie scale, on the entertainment scale.
Well, I agree with that to some extent, but I still think that the aura of Marvel and that story is what drew that number.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But that's not to say, because of course Hollywood for years used to, and when the Sony hack came out, it was clear that even with Denzel Washington, they didn't feel like particularly a black man could carry a multi-million-dollar movie. Right. Because now what's going on is the money is mainly being made across internationally. So I think last count there was over 182 million that was earned internationally, which bumped it up to over 482 million now.
Right.
But the point being now is I agree with you that certainly, and then I think here's the other aspect of it, because a lot of that money was earned in Africa.
Right.
And the fact that it featured Africa, I think it drew more African eyeballs than it normally would have. So you got to throw that into account. And then I think, like we said earlier, I think the fact that it was a superhero movie and a lot of people were familiar with the story just to want to see the superhero.
Right.
They weren't concerned about it being black.
Right. They just wanted to see.
They just wanted to see Black Panther because that was part of their, because for me, when they've been making all these stupid movies for years, I want to say 20 years ago, they ought to just, when they made that first Hulk.
Right.
And remember, it was so terrible.
Right.
Then they had to come back and they made another one, which was better. I said, at that point, look, why don't they just take the story and base it on the comic book?
Right.
Just quit trying to rewrite the screenplay.
Right.
And when they did that, that's when Marvel started taking over the product again. They just basically are taking the screenplay, the same stories, and they're augmenting the screenplay is just somewhat. Right. But it's the same story, and it's working. And I know a lot of people are sick of superhero movies, but, the bottom line is people want to see it, and they're good.
Right,
so.
people want to see it. They are good. Think about it. You're talking about superhero movies that are works of fiction that are grossing $1 billion. Because this is where people get to actually see their childhood dreams that they grew up on on the screen. And let's just be real. If you still collect comic books, for those of us that are comic book collectors like me, I got over 2,000 sitting at my mother's house. You've seen the comic books take so many twists now, you don't even understand what's going on in the storylines no more. So my thing about it, and look, and I would suggest for you guys that love Black Panther, I'm gonna put a spoiler in it, but I want you guys to go and support this because the movie is going to take place in Wakanda. Avengers: Civil War. That comes out in May. You need to go see it because it's going to follow right back into Black Panther and Wakanda. Yeah. If you've watched the trailer, it's going right back into Wakanda.
Yep. It's going to be interesting.
It's going to be very interesting. My geek level's at 2 million.
It's interesting as you move forward with the story, but again, a lot of people are not familiar with the story. Here's the other thing I want to address: those people who thought this movie was about the Black Panthers.
Oh, Lord help.
Okay, now I don't think there is another person. Well, I won't say that, but there's not many people who is down for the cause as I am. Okay, I sit here with an ankh on. All right, that should tell you a lot. If you listen to what I do, if you listen to Black Focus, you know that I know what I'm talking about when it comes to our history. But I want to figure out how is it that if you saw the trailer of this movie,
right,
and they've been broadcasting these trailers since Thanksgiving.
Right.
If you saw, in fact, they spend more money on advertising this movie than any other Marvel movie. I think they said $150 million.
Right.
All right. So you had to see this trailer.
Right.
How is it that you can deduce from what your eyeballs saw of a man jumping on a building, running and sticking his claws in a tire and jumping on a car
and flipping and stuff like that?
How is it? Because it's boggling my mind, dog.
It did.
How is it? Let me finish my quick because I got to get this out.
Go get it out.
How is it that you deduced? How is it that your brain, your synapses, fashioned what you saw in those trailers? And all the hype that came around this movie, even the car commercial that they got with this guy. How is it that your brain was able to fashion a thought that this was going to be about the Black Panthers, the civil rights organization? Okay, I got it out. How that be is, man. How that be is. Because I saw a lot of posts about that.
What is we gonna do? That's what I need to know. What is we gonna do?
But y'all woke though.
Okay, let me help those who are a little slow on the uptake. There was a Black Panther movie out made in 1992 called Panther, and it actually had a Black Panther. For those that don't remember, it had Mohandas Darwish, also known as Kool Moe Dee. He was in it, and that talked about the organization of the Black Panthers. And for those of you guys that did not see it, I suggest you go to Netflix or go to your DVD, well, probably your VCR collection, because it's probably still on VCR, and go watch the movie called Panther. If you don't want to have that type of intellectual curiosity, go just look it up on IMDb, which is called the Internet Movie Database, and it will show you. Just type in Panther, and it will show you the movie that was made around the time most of us was grown and in college. That talked about the Black Panther organization. I didn't get that when I heard some sisters talking about. I thought it was about the Black Panthers. I'm like, huh? And let's go. In fact, let's take a break, because I want to talk about the other backlash to this from some of these conservative right-wing bigots. We're going to talk about them and all the trolling that was going on with this movie. We'll be back, you folks. Devil's Advocate.
Having issues with child support, traffic tickets, criminal matters, family, wills, estates, and probate matters? Call Jimmy C. Morris of the Morris Law Firm here in Little Rock, Arkansas, an aggressive powerhouse attorney that will fight for you. Call him 7 days a week from Monday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. and from Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Weekend appointments are also available. And also, check out Jimmy Morris on The Devil's Advocate once a month for our infamous Ask the Attorney segment, as he talks about social, political, and legal issues. Check him out, and his dedicated staff of professionals will fight for justice for you. Again, that's the Jimmy C. Morris Law Firm. His number is 501-319-7647. That's the Jimmy C. Morris Law Firm. His number is 501-319-7647. Call him.
Have a business, or are you looking to start a business? Do you need more customers and traffic to your website? Visit ourblackbusiness.com and sign up for free tips and strategies on how to grow or start your business. Our Black Business has free information on marketing, website design, website traffic, acquiring customers, affiliate programs, and so much more. All of our information is free of charge. So please visit ourblackbusiness.com today.
Time for surrender. I'm a vigilante. My love's defender.
Okay. What's up? Devil's Advocate. We are back, folks. And we are back here talking about, damn, we can't have anything. And this is to go, now that we've talked about the history of the Black Panther and the greatness that it has done in the box office, let's talk about some of the things that's more important, not from our folks, but from some of these bigots that were watching the movie, or at least paying attention to the movie. Of course, when the Black Panther movie came out, there was a lot of foolishness. There was protesting, from my understanding, at the movie theater, because you had people saying that this was a racist movie. You had some people that were trolling on social media stating that their girlfriends were getting beat up in the movie. Did you see that, Dave? Talking about their girlfriends.
Let's be clear. A lot of that was, you have to be careful, because now that the Russians are doing, a lot of that was the Russian bots. I'm going to be honest with you.
Right.
I did see some pictures, though, of white people who had fake blood on them, claiming that they had been beat up.
Right.
That was, to me, there were white people when I went to the movie. The bottom line is, most of the white people went, they wanted to see the movie.
Right.
So I didn't. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't really pay any of that attention because
but they were putting it out on Facebook.
Yeah.
And of course, like I said, that's Russian bots and trolls and whoever. Even though bigots, even if they weren't Russian, the fact of the matter is, nobody got beat up at the movie. Nobody sat around here in the movie and Whitey go home. Nobody did any of that. That is a lie.
So, and here's the other thing too about those white people, because there were some who were complaining about the cast being predominantly black.
Oh, give me the break.
So let me think here. Pick a movie.
Let's try Avengers. Let's go with that one.
Okay, pick another one.
Let's pick Iron Man.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, just pick any movie that has been made in Hollywood in the last, well, let's say since its inception.
Right.
What percent of those movies would you say, off the top of your head, had an all-white cast?
Probably about, and since inception of Hollywood, try about 80 to 90% of them.
I'd argue about 90%.
Right.
Okay, so when you complain to me, Snowflake, that this movie has a all-black cast.
And the blast was all black, by the way. There were 2 white folks.
Well, it doesn't matter. When you
but
complain to me, when you make that argument to me, I don't hear you.
So let me understand this. So
I don't hear you.
So hold on. So you got to complain about that, but you don't have a complaint with movies like The Best Man or The Wood or what is it? Coming to America that are predominantly black cast. You only have a problem with this movie because it is such a big transcendent movie. Now all of a sudden you got an issue about it. But because black people make a lot of movies that are predominantly mostly all black cast.
And that's an excellent point as well. But even regardless of that,
right?
Even with all those movies you mentioned, again, I don't see black people complaining that your movies are all white.
Right.
I don't see that happening. So I don't understand why you would be complaining that there's a movie that, you're right. Coming to America is a classic example of that.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you, and just a quick, it's funny you bring that up because a friend and I were talking about Coming to America a couple of days ago. And I think Coming to America is what we saw in Black Panther.
Right.
Here's why I say that. When you go back and you think about what Coming to America was all about, it was the first movie that I can remember that actually showed Africa in a positive light.
Right.
Although it was a comedy, but what was it? It was about kings and queens.
Right.
The prince, he was coming to America. You know what I'm saying?
He was wealthy.
He was wealthy.
Right.
He all of those things that you wish Africa could be was coming to America.
Right.
All right. And a lot of people didn't look at it from that point of view, but I think hopefully as you hear what I'm saying, you'll go back and look at that point of view and say, hey, look, since then, what movie does black people have that has linked our past and our present as one and made us feel good about ourselves?
Right.
There's not another movie. There just isn't. You can talk about all those others. Those are American-made movies, but they didn't link us with Africa. No. It made some of us feel good about it.
Well, if you link it with Africa, they're linking us with movies like Birth of a Nation, where we're slaves.
Right.
Or they're linking us with Amistad, where we're slaves.
Right. And that's the other point. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have a problem with those movies.
I don't have a problem.
All right. In fact, I loved Birth of a Nation. Mm-hmm. All right. Those are stories that need to be told. That's part of our history. Right. But also, understand that Michael what's the guy who played Killmonger?
Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan. I understand he and the director are talking about doing a movie about Mansa Musa.
Right.
Okay. So Mansa Musa, in today's times, would have been the wealthiest man that ever lived.
Right.
He was a king of Mali.
Right.
Okay. So they're talking about that. So that's part of history as well. But I think the other part of this, when you brought up the slavery aspect, when you look at this movie and the response that it has gotten, is that I think you're right. People are tired of seeing us in slave movies. People are tired of seeing us as gangsters, thugs, prostitutes, pimps, wife beaters. For the first time rappers, exactly. Right. Here is a movie that showed us. It makes you wonder, what would Africa have been if it had not been raped?
Right.
It also makes you wonder, what could Africa be if we go back, not physically, but mentally and economically? Right. That's why the white supremacists are upset about that, because it plants that seed now more than ever. So anyway.
And I looked at it and see, here's the thing, and I was why you talking about doing Mansa, because I saw that on Facebook. They were talking about doing Mansa Musa, and for those of you guys that do not know, Mansa Musa was a king in Mali in the Middle Ages, early Middle Ages. And if he had been alive today, his net wealth would have been more than anybody alive. His net wealth at the time was more than anybody alive on the planet that they could calculate. And I'm also looking and see, here's the interesting thing, because actually Bruce Willis and Will Smith have been trying to get this green lighted by Hollywood too. They wanted to do a movie about King Taharka. I don't know if you've heard about that.
Now, which king is that?
The King Taharka was the king, African king that came and fought with the Israelites against the Mesopotamians when they were in bondage.
Okay, all right.
That's what they, because that is a biblical story too about King Taharka.
Well, I also know they're trying to get they were trying to get a green light for Hannibal.
Right.
Well.
I've been talking because they were trying about casting Denzel as Hannibal.
Right. So they're trying to get a green light for that as well. So the point being is that as you see, the fear of white people right now is that they really have no history. Mm-hmm. Everything that they have, it was stolen. And I mean, Dr. George M. James talks about that in the book Stolen Legacy. Right. You go back and look at it. But, you're talking about kings of Mali. I hope they do the story. I want to say Akhenaten. He was the king who renounced his throne. Mm-hmm. He was a king of Mali as well. Mm-hmm. He renounced his throne and sailed 200 ships across the Atlantic. Mm. No one ever heard of him again in Africa. Wow.
Wonder where he went.
Well, check this out. When he came across the Atlantic, many people believe that some of the same symbols that are in the hieroglyphs in the Aztec, pyramids are the same symbols that were being used at that time during that period of time in his kingdom. Mm-hmm. Many people believe he is the white savior who the natives saw coming out of the water at the time and thought he was a god. So I'm hoping they'll do that story because he was fascinated with travel. The Malians traveled early on, long before many people even thought that they would thought about traveling.
Don't you think it's interesting? And I took this actually from another science fiction movie, which was Alien versus Predator, and they were talking about. Don't you think it's interesting that? Well, no, let me take that back. Prometheus. Let me take that back. When they said, "Why do we have all these pyramids?" With different distinct cultures, but they all originate back from the ancient Egyptians, which was the oldest. You got South America that has pyramids. You have places in Asia, Southeast Asia that have pyramids.
Well, you even have them in Mexico. I mean, when you talk about the Olmec heads, I mean, you
where did the knowledge come from?
Right, you see all of those things and the same symbolism that dates back to early African civilization.
Right.
So, that's why I tell people that I don't even refer slavery as just a blip. Although 400 years of bondage, it's a blip when you compare it to the total African history that we refer to. That I am a descendant of. So I mean, I look at slavery as a blip. Let's say a fallacy as it relates to mankind, particularly white mankind. But I look way past that. I mean, of course, as you hear me, I've studied a lot of African history over the years, and I'm sorry, and that's what a lot of this frustration is about. And I know we're going to transition to Donald Trump, but that's what all of this frustration is really about. What this anger is about is that they're beginning to realize. Part of the reason that they don't want to teach history, African history, is because
they want to revise slavery.
They want to revise all of that and say it wasn't that bad. But when you look at the facts, then the question you have to, and I read an article on this where I saw this white lady saying you need to teach white children about African history and particularly slavery, because what it will do is begin to because before children are affected by their parents, they have a pretty good sense of right and wrong. That's why you can see a black kid, a little white kid, and a black kid playing together until their parents, intervene. Okay, particularly the white parents.
Right.
So if you teach the horrors of slavery to those white kids, as graphic as it is, you can eliminate that mindset that you are better than someone.
Right.
You see, but they don't want to do that.
Or it wasn't that bad because you don't relate because it didn't happen in your life.
And they don't want to do that. And that's the frustration of Donald Trump and all of these people, because they are afraid right now. And Dr. Francis Cress Welsing talked about this in an interview with Donahue in 72 about white genetic annihilation.
Right.
All right. White genetic annihilation is simply evolution. All right. You understand? You know what I mean by that?
Right.
Okay. And those of you who don't, is that, see, you can kill off every black man in this world, okay, except one. And if he is of childbearing age, he can repopulate the entire world with black people.
Right.
Okay. Even if the black men are not here, and if there's a black woman,
right,
she can repopulate this world with black people.
Right.
You can't do that with white people. And what is going on right now is white people are becoming extinct. Now, it's not something that's going to happen tomorrow, but in 14 states, according to the latest census, there are white people's death are outpacing their births. Do you hear what I said? In 14 states in America. In 2042, white people will officially become minorities in this country.
Right.
When you hear America first, if you go back and research that language, you will see that is a phrase that the KKK used.
Right.
Y'all follow me?
Right.
So I don't want you to think that I'm sitting here talking conspiracy. This is a concerted effort by white people to try to maintain their power.
Right.
Because if you look at what's going on in Pennsylvania right now, when you look at where the Republican Party has vowed to ignore the Supreme Court,
right,
and say, yeah, we gerrymandered it. You have 30,000 more registered Democratic voters in Pennsylvania,
right,
yet 14 out of the 18 House seats are Republican, including the governor.
Right.
Mathematically, that's impossible.
Right.
But that Republican administration, because they want to maintain their power, because they have a white nationalist agenda,
right,
they're trying to defy the Supreme Court. So there's a bigger picture that we need to look at about Donald Trump. We don't get caught up in what Trump says. Follow what the Republican Party does.
Right.
Because the Republican Party are the ones who are enabling Donald Trump to do the things that he's doing right now.
Well, let's go to trending right quick, because I want to hit on that when we talk about. Oh, we got a phone call. Hello, Devil's Advocate Radio. We got 2 buckets of fried chicken and a slice of watermelon for the next set of Black Panther tickets. Go ahead.
My name is T'Challa. I don't eat watermelon or fried chicken.
What's going on?
All right, so let me tell you something real fast, T'Challa. So Ryan Coogler, I saw a piece on this thing about watermelon.
What, watermelon? Okay.
Okay. So he was in Africa, setting up for the movie, and he said he was riding, I think he said on a donkey, where they was going into this village, right? And there was this lady who had sliced up, African lady, who was going along and was giving people watermelon. Okay? And the people along the way was tucking it around, and he said they were treating it like it was gold. And he looked at this lady and said, why are y'all eating watermelon? In my country, they make fun of us when we eat watermelon. And he said, you know what? The lady told him, y'all are stupid. Watermelon in Africa is one of the best things you can eat for hydration. It also fills you up. He said, I've changed my whole view of watermelon now. Isn't that amazing? Anyway, sorry, T'Challa.
Go ahead, T'Challa.
It is okay. We still do not embrace the watermelon in my country.
Talk to us, T'Challa. Listen, we have an idiot for a president over here. He's a bigot too, and he's talking.
And he has approached my country about our vibranium, and I have told him no several times.
No vibranium for you guys. So he wants to put teachers in schools with handguns. What is your take on that? What kind of foolishness is that?
I think that we should put people in the White House with handguns and allow them to talk to him in private. That is my thoughts.
Did you go? I enjoyed you in your movie. I mean, you was the boss, man.
That is a different movie. It was portraying my character, and they did not do a very good job.
Oh, okay.
I don't wear a mask and I don't have costumes when I deal with my people.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what's up.
I dress myself in traditional African garb, and I use Cowboys jerseys for my feet so that the trash is moved around appropriately.
Yeah. So I mean, so are you going to share in your vibranium? Because you know, the brothers over here, we starving. We got to do it. We need.
The last time I shared vibranium, it was at a club of yours called, I believe, Peaches, and all the girls took all of my vibranium.
Oh, it was at Peaches, huh? Yeah, I think you were sharing a lot of vibranium on that day, or that night.
Yes, it was a very good meeting, and we didn't have any watermelon, but it was very sweet, very sweet.
Very, very sweet. Okay, all right. Well, that's
very,
what I'm talking about. So tell me, what did you think about the movie? Talk to us.
I thought that the movie was very long, very long.
Very long?
In Africa, we don't have that much time to watch a movie.
Oh, okay.
I also thought that it showed you a true view of how we should portray ourselves on TV, rather than being crackheads and baby mamas.
Right. Same people that complained about it probably got the Friday collection in their movie library.
But the same people in your country that complain about things in Africa are people who have no idea what Africa even looks like.
Right.
Those people only care about LeBron James.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I'm so glad that you and your people, the Wakandans, came and enlightened some of the people around the world about what it is.
And for all of your European people who say Wakanda is not real, tell them neither is Hogwarts.
Oh, it's hogwash? Okay, bet. Yeah, I'm trying to find me a flight
There's
there.
no Harry Potter.
No, there's definitely no.
Or a galaxy far, far away.
The only Darth Vader I know is a girl from Peaches.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Very dark, beautiful skin, and she took a lot of vibranium from me. Quite a bit.
Boy, look. Took a lot of vibranium
Quite a bit.
Did
Yeah, several ounces of vibranium were misplaced when I met this young god named Darth Vader.
Okay. So yeah. So we want to thank you for calling in. I want to thank you for we're running short on time, but I want to thank you, Mr. T'Challa, for calling in. Hopefully you will call in again. We're going to go and do this again.
Well, no, I cannot call you anymore. It costs me $74 a minute every time I call your country.
Oh my goodness. Well, if you got some goats, I'll take those as payment, and put some minutes on your Obama phone.
We need to talk about that offline. We're making work something out. Yes. We have several goats that are famished, but I believe you can get you a few good bites.
Oh, good.
And just tell people you're having a goat chop.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Goat good work good for me. Well, again, Mr. T'Challa, I want to thank you for calling in, and always feel free again to call in. I'll make sure I put some baby wipes and some minutes on your Obama phone. I want to thank you for calling in there. Anything else you want to say before you go from the motherland?
I would like to say before I go, Mama, I love you, P.O.P., baby. Hold it down.
Okay, all right then. Well, thank you, Mr. T'Challa. All right. Boy, I tell you, it's always something with us, isn't it? Okay. Well, thank you, Dave. I want to thank you for giving in. Thank you, Mr. T'Challa, for calling us in and entertaining us. Like I said, we always something new with us on the show. Next week, Lorenz will be back. He's on the plane. And listen, for you guys, we are needing, Subversive had to go back to work, so now we are needing a female co-host. If you're funny, witty, and you want to tell me the shenanigans, make sure you get with us or get with me or Lorenz, because we're going to need the female's perspective here on Devil's Advocate. I want to thank Nat Cat for coming in. I guess she had to go up here and sell a house or whatever she had to do. And, of course, our elder statesman, Mr. Dave, for imparting some knowledge upon us today. This weekend, Just Jokes with my man Langston Carr, his bald head self. We're going to be out there on Sunday for you guys who want to come enjoy some great comedy. Billy Sorrells is going to be the headlining act. We will be out there, and I want to thank you guys for joining us. Again, thank you for supporting us. And, of course, we got some great things going. We got another movie night coming, and we got a nice meet and greet going. So don't forget to pay attention to Devil's Advocate. Thank you guys for joining us. And, again, we'll see you here next Friday. And don't forget, if you can't stand the heat, stay out of Hell's Kitchen. See you, folks.